Okay, just a quick-ish update and explanation of the progress of this build. Let's keep in mind this is one computer. Not two, but one computer. Spread out over 2 cases. So, just for reference, the Thermaltake Core P8 case. It is a foot. No, it's 2 feet. No, it's an inch shy of 3 feet. You guys may remember a 36-inch like big screen TV. Yeah, this thing is not small. I mean, obviously 32 inches is a small TV now, but flat screen's a different aspect ratio. I digress. This is pretty big too, as you can tell. It's a 90-degree shape. This is a conventional computer case. The idea is that the motherboard would go here usually with the GPU like that, and then you'd have one radiator right here, and then you mount like a pump or something here. It's a cool case, and that's why I wanted to use it for this. I've taken the glass off of both of them because it's utterly futile to try and record video or take pictures of cases with glass on the front of them. So let's get over here to show the interesting stuff. It's not entirely finished. I still have one radiator to add down here. And then I need to incorporate this guy, which is, it's a filter. It's all sparkly. Yeah, that's vinyl that I did myself. Got it at Michael's. Nothing too terribly exciting, but yeah, it's a cricket. Is that what they call it? Cricket. I did 2 tones of the sparkly space stuff, and I think it looks really nice. It reacts really well with the lighting too. So that's that. Yeah, we got the same stuff, the 11900K, the Z590 from Asus, the EVGA 3090 for the Win 3. Yeah, so that's all the same. The card is cooled on the back with a hard drive cooler, like a 5.25-inch hard drive cooler, which is a unique design that I came up with myself. And then block on the CPU, block on the RAM, and a block on the primary drive that runs Windows. There's 2 more drives in here. Well, actually 3, but 2 more M.2 drives, little baby ones. Look how small the drive must be. Yeah, and I've decided that needed cooling because it was running pretty hot. So that's that. We've got a dual pump setup because this pump, the D5, can power fountains easily. Like, it has a 1,000 centimeter head pressure, which means it could go 10 meters in the air before it would run out of steam. So yeah, it's used on fountains and waterfalls and stuff all the time. But yeah, I've got 2 of them. And the reason why is this, for one, but also bends and twists. They reduce your flow rate pretty well. So it starts here, goes out of here, and pumps into the second pump. The second pump then takes it, and it shoots it out here. Now, I've devised something really unique. This is a device which allows the Aquaero here to decide when the system is hot enough that it needs to activate this. Otherwise, this will be shut off, no lights, no spinning, because these are pretty loud. These are 3,000 RPM Noctua industrial fans. They will go as loud as you can possibly imagine, but they're also very quiet when they're at lower speeds. So this has 2 electronic switches on it that the Aquaero will actuate when it determines the loop has sufficient heat in it to need some assistance. So for the most part, this will be open, and that will just have it go in a loop around instead of shooting back into this. When it heats up, it will flip a switch to open one of these and close the other, and then this will flow through these hoses all the way up. I gave it 10 feet, but I don't know if I'm going to need it. The idea is to mount it up in this corner. It mounts on a standard TV VESA mount, as does this, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Anyway, so it'll come into here, and then this will distribute it amongst the 4 ports on top. Still working out exactly how that's going to look, otherwise it'd be done. duh. But yeah, I'm pretty close with this. Fittings and everything. And then it's going to remove itself. It's going to collect down in here in this box fish. I looked up what a box fish is because it was supposed to be inspired by it. And it is so identical. It's a little box-looking fish with a bunch of dots on it. That's funny. So this has a flow meter and a temperature sensor of its own, although it doesn't communicate with the computer. I've also got this LCD screen, but we'll get to that in a second. So we got 4 420 millimeter fans. Just to put that in perspective, the standard exhaust fan on a normal computer is a 140 millimeter fan. Ideally, if you're doing it correctly. That would go like right here in a normal, like cheap, out of the box Best Buy computer. You'd have one of those and then maybe 2 fans on the front. As you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 440 millimeters, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of the 120 millimeters. I haven't counted all the fans. Someone do that for me. So I was going to do fans on both sides of this, but these Noctua 140, 3000 RPM fans are really good. But imagine the fact that a normal computer has 1 of them. This is 12. Yeah. That's a lot of cooling. This is more cooling than most cars have. Like, I would say this is about the size of a normal car radiator, maybe like another half of one of these. And then put that with this radiator, and this one, and the one that'll be here, and then this one. That's a lot of cooling capacity. This is going to be able to remove heat like crazy. Now, I'll know that it's overkill when it just sits around room temperature. Like, it's 23 Celsius in here. If the water temperature in there just sits around like 28, I know I've hit a wall. So the real idea is to be able to use the cryo cooler on this later, and have the excessive amount of heat that produces dealt with effectively. This card is also supposedly capable of putting off a lot of heat, and this processor is notorious for putting off a lot of heat. Intel's notorious for being very warm, but I'm having no problems with Intel because I have so much cooling. So maybe I'm lucky. So anyway, that'll collect in the box fish, and it'll go back. There's another flow meter here, just as there's the flow meter on the out, so I'll know kind of what the flow does going out and then back in. In theory, the flow would be like uniform throughout the loop, but that's not ever the case. So it comes back in, it then goes into the RAM, and the RAM is not actually needing cooling, but it's getting it. There's a temperature sensor in here too, so that we know, yeah, it's over here, so we know what the temperature is before it starts going through all the big components. So into the RAM, out into the GPU, out of the GPU into the CPU, out of there into the drive, and then there's of course another temperature sensor at the end of that to see what the situation is there, because we want to see how hot is it before we put it in the components, and how hot does it get after that, and then what sort of effect does this have on it, and what sort of effect, because we're going through here, and then through here, and back into the pump. We're measuring the temperature differences, first with this, then with the components, and then with the other 4 radiators. So that's how that'll work. Artistically, pretty similar. Still using the AFI stuff. I know these are brown. They're going to be covered up pretty well, so you won't notice, but they're really good, I swear. That's why they're there. Need to find a home for this filter. It might be right there. And need to find out where to put my... This is something no one's ever made before, the ability to switch on and off a separate cooling box remotely using this bad boy. So I'm pretty proud of that. And then I think this LCD screen, it's an 8-inch, may end up here. It may end up standing straight up like that. We'll find out. But that is the situation as of now. Hopefully it will be completed by the end of the weekend. Thank you for watching.